Good afternoon, Cohort 1. I hope you're doing well. Excuse my voice. I may or may not have yelled it out at the Bearcat football game on Saturday, so here I am now. That being said, I want to say that you're already in the thick of it, right? You've made it through Start Here, and you've submitted your Module 1 activities after going through. I loved the introductions from the Start Here unit. I think you all did a bang up job on kind of explaining where you're coming from, what your history is with the digital tools, as well as for those of you that shared it. I loved the pictures we got to see that you shared, your images that sparked joy. There was picturesque pictures. There were pictures of family. It was just beautiful, and I really appreciate you sharing something like that outside of just the norm. And I would encourage you in your own courses to find ways to have the students be creative about something that they do. I've seen one activity for an introduction where a student takes their name and uses their name and uses each of the letters in their name to find a descriptor word that describes who they are. Something just different than the normal hello, right? So anyway, that being said, Module 1 was just as good, y'all. You got in there, you did your first self-assessment workbook, which is important. And then you did your Online Learners and You assignment, which I think is kind of nice, these reflective exercises that we have throughout the program. This one in particular I like because it helps us think about those diverse student perspectives in terms of how they express learning, how they express knowledge. And I really liked some of the insights that came through in those assignments. You guys are just thinking outside of the box, which I love. And you're thinking about ways to, connect. And again, that's just fantastic. So we're really happy with your responses thus far. There are a couple of you that haven't gotten in yet. We would highly encourage you to get involved with the units as we do them, because you get more out of it when you can interact with other folks in the discussions and other pieces. So anyway, just some words of advice there. Know that the course description assignment in specific this month, for this module that we asked you to turn in, we know that there's a standard course description that you have to have in your syllabus, and we totally get that it has to be there the way that it has to be there. We would highly encourage you, however, to add either an addendum in your syllabus and or putting it in your Blackboard course that more the syllabus that's more connective, the course description that's more connective to your students, right? Featuring that warm tone, featuring what that course means to them directly, how it can connect to them and propel them forward and whatever they need to do. And then, sharing your own personal experience and your own expertise around the subject matter, because that's going to help connect you and the students. And the more you can do that, the more you can connect you and your students together, the more retained they will be, the more engaged they will be, and the better that they will perform. So anyway, that being said, that's my little soapbox moment with Jacob Spradlin. So that was Module 1. This coming Thursday, Module 2 is due. In this module, we get into navigation, and then we get into thinking about planning out your course, right? And thinking about what a course outline would be. I'm going to give you an example of how we did our course outline really quick as that assignment. So if I were to go to our Start Here and scroll down to our, actually it's not in Start Here, it's in Course Information. I'm so sorry. I'm in between 27 courses. If I go to this program syllabus that gives our course outline for the course, right? And scroll down to our schedule, you will note that in said schedule, we not only have the name and topic and the activities involved and the due date, we also layer in there the objectives for each unit. We want to underscore that. We want to really get those objectives in there per module in the schedule, remind students the why of what they're doing. The more I can connect my students to why, the more they can get that metacognition active as to thinking about what they're thinking about and connecting, okay, I'm doing this because of da-da-da-da-da, right? So anyway, just a thought there for you as you think about your own course outline assignment, which of course is in Module 2 Electric Boogaloo. So I'm going to come back to Module 2 really quick so we can get to it. And in here, we actually talk about those planning and course template resources there, but we get into navigation. You have your workbook activity, and then that course outline and the check-in. So that's what's due Thursday, right? Then Sunday is our elements of design. And this one I think is a good one. It's got another activity, another reflective activity in your journal. And it asks you to think about the first time you came in contact with Universal Design for Learning or designing for accessibility in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And if you haven't, just reflect upon what you learned in the module, and that is completely okay. And it's the same kind of cadence about what we want you to get into. There is a discussion where we want you to post a post in the discussion like you're telling your friend about the Universal Design for Learning. So pay particular attention to the instructions for that specific discussion. Now, Module 2, we're going to be leaving you a special kind of feedback. So as all things, we try to layer in some feedback that's helpful for you. Module 2 is one of those where I think you should pay attention. We're going to layer in some feedback in your workbook. So just look for that particular feedback once we get it great. But Module 3, so Module 2 is due this Thursday. Module 3 is due Sunday. So remember our Thursday, Sunday cadence that we've got for our due dates. So that's kind of where we've been and where we're going. Now let's look at our tip for today. You'll remember from last week, right? Where we came in and we talked about how you could organize your new Ultra document and put stuff in it. Well, another great new feature that came about this month that I think really adds that next level to what you can do in your Ultra documents in terms of checking for understanding with your students and all that good stuff. I would say that you definitely want to go ahead and think about this next level. So what I'm going to do is edit my content on this document, and I'm going to this stuff here. I wanted my students to interact with. Maybe it was a video, maybe it was text, but I want them to read and watch and look at and understand these things. I also want to check for understanding. So what I want to do is layer in a completely low stakes, non-graded, but the data is collected way for them to self-assess what they got out of this module, right? So I can do one quick question. I can layer in multiple questions if I want to, but it has to be one at a time. But I'm going to add a knowledge check. Right? Oh my good gosh, a knowledge check. Yes, I can add a knowledge check in the layer of the document. So they're not having to go take a quiz to figure out if they understand what they've read. It's right there. So I'll come in here. And when you add in a knowledge check, you essentially get 3 different question types, although you have one interface. You can do multiple choice, multiple, and then you can also do multiple answer and true and false. So in this case, I might have the question be the picture in the middle of the document shows stacks of record albums or just albums. How about vinyl albums, right? And then I can go true or true, and then false, and select the one that I want is correct. And then you've got that. I can immediately, depending upon what the answer, the question is, I can detail the correct feedback and the incorrect feedback to kind of point them in the right direction. So when I'm done with that, I can come in and hit save. Then I've got here a question at the bottom of my document that kind of is like a knowledge check question. However, I might want to call attention to the fact that it's a knowledge check question. So I might decide that I want to add a graphic that kind of points out, hey, it's a knowledge check. So I might come in and add in a picture above it and add do content. And I can do just an image if I wanted to, or I could have just done the upload file, but I'm going to choose upload file here. And on my screen, I'm in my work thing here, and I want to find my knowledge check picture. So I know that it's in here under knowledge. There it is, knowledge check picture that I've got saved. And boom, there it is. So I'm actually having a big call out that points my students to the fact that there's going to be a picture that's a knowledge check. So I'm going to hit next and hit next again. And then I'm going to say, hey, you know what? This is a knowledge knowledge check graphic. And I'm going to make it viewable only and hit save. Now, Blackboard will want to do some things when I do this, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of the extra space involved on top of and below this picture. But then I can do what we did at our last Tuesday tune-in, right? I can take and drag this picture down and to the right of this guy. So I can't have just a little one right here that just says knowledge check. Boom. That lets students know that I've got a question. Now, I can also choose to make it a little bigger and really call out that it's a knowledge check, and that's okay too. I can do what I want. And then the student can come in and give it a true or a false. Now, I'll hit save. You'll note here when you look at this document as the instructor, it's going to give you statistics around this knowledge check question. So the number of students who've done it, the overall attempts, the average attempts to correct answer, the max attempts to correct answer, and the difficulty, right? All that good stuff will show up right there for you in the document. I hope what I've given you for this week has been helpful. We talked about where we've been, where we're going. Pay attention to the feedback for the Module 2 self-assessment workbook. And then also that tip on adding in a knowledge check directly in your content. How cool is that? Anyway, I hope you're well. I hope that you have a good rest of your day. Remember the due date cadence, Thursday for Module 2, Sunday for Module 3. And have a good rest of your day. And I also hope you have a great weekend. Hope to see you at the Bearcat game if you're at SAM. It's going to be a great time. We're playing our first conference game against New Mexico State University. If not, wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. Thanks again.